That's like when I hear people that have like a beach house down the shore. And you're like,
every time I hear someone say, "Oh, that's the house of shore," I'm like, "Wow, your life is different than mine, bro."
I was like,
and sometimes
so
it's not
you're
even,
rich.
Sometimes it's not even that different, you know. But I'm like, obviously, somewhere along the line, you guys planned better. Hey, I'm Cynthia, storyteller, spiritual softie, hija de too many identities to count, and one half of this diasporic duo.
And I'm Amy, creative curator, intuitive thinker, hija de inmigrantes, and this is Decaf Soul. Welcome back to Decaf Soul. Today we're going to be unpacking something we all feel but rarely define, which is class. What even is class consciousness, and did it mean anything to you growing up?
For some of us, class wasn't a concept. It was survival. When you grow up aware of the bills, the cost of food, the price of everything, it shapes the way that you see the world. Indeed.
Indeed, girly. Indeed. Okay. So we're going to be continuing with icebreakers, which Cynthia hates.
I don't hate them so much anymore, so we don't have to introduce it that way every time.
Okay. Here we go. Icebreaker time. Okay.
Yay.
So we're going to try to answer this quickly.
Okay.
The first thought that comes to mind, no overthinking.
Got it. Hot
That's
fire.
going to be
Boom,
a
boom,
real
boom.
challenge for me because I am an overthinker.
Oh, talk about that. Me too, girl.
Okay. So childhood luxury, what's one thing you thought was fancy as a kid?
One thing I thought. Do you have your answer?
No, I don't. I'm just excited to hear yours. See if it's
something.
the same one. No overthinking.
Oh, we're thinking so much. Okay, so I think I thought having different outfits to family parties was like a big deal because like I had to recycle a lot of my outfits, and I would always be like, wow, everybody always has like a new cute shirt and a new cute thing, and I never have like I wasn't poor. We always had everything, by the way, but we just didn't have like enough money for me to have like a brand new outfit every party.
Thing.
Yeah, every dinner we had for family or whatever. It was always usually like recycling the same cute outfit.
I love that though. Like, if it's something that I really like, then I'll just wear it all over again.
You start to notice when you're a kid, you're like, oh, well, everybody else is wearing something different every time.
Okay.
Right.
All right. You asked the second one for me.
Okay. School vibes. Did you ever feel out of place at school?
No. In middle school, not really, because I went to Elizabeth Public Schools, so I just feel like everybody came from the same neighborhood, same side of the block or town or whatever. Elizabeth's actually pretty big.
Yes. What about college?
College, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Definitely college. I definitely felt out of place in college. We were just talking about this.
Yeah, it was like a culture shock to get to my school.
So I think obviously,
like I'd never been the only brown person. I'd been in America since I was 5 years old, but I'd never experienced being the only brown person in a room until I got to college.
So when we were talking about how we both were commuters in college, and it's so dumb to say, but even looking at commuters' cars, like some of the kids' cars would be a little more luxury branded, you know, and mine was like not. I get that. I kind of got, at least from the commuter perspective, because I never room and board at school, but I can tell.
I love that you say room and board.
Isn't it room and board?
I mean, yeah, but it's also like dorm. Like I never
dormed.
Like what is this, the 1800s?
No, come on. Are you kidding me? So I always felt like, oh, this student definitely came from a certain part of Jersey that.
Oh my God, that happened to me one time. I worked at this restaurant in Madison, New Jersey, and we had a bus boy who lived in Randolph or whatever. So that's a nice area.
It is a nice area.
So one day we were all like, after work, he was like, oh, come over, like let's all have like a hangout. Like, so it was like all of the like the waiters and like the bussers, we all went to his house to like hang out and like just chill after work. And he had the nicest house I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
And you would never think of that. But I was literally like, I didn't know, you know how like some people like you see in like MTV Cribs, like the living room is like you have to take 2 steps down. It's like into the ground. and this is how you know wealth, right? Because like, you know,
the big indicator
the
of
length
wealth.
of the windows was from the floor to the ceiling, and it was like it was like 30 feet tall windows, and I was like, what? I couldn't believe like the difference of life that we had. But he was a busser and I was a waiter at the same restaurant, but his family, whatever. Okay, next one. This is your question.
Okay, family quirks. One rule or habit at home that shaped how you see life. Ooh.
My mom always made us sit at the table when we eat, no matter what.
Oh, I love that.
Like to the point of like it was like not
Time
allowed
to eat. Venga a comer.
Yeah, like there was no. So
come
it's
eat.
like, it's a lot of people don't eat by the table. Actually, it's being told. It's like been said that like people don't do dining room anymore. Like people are like opting out of dining rooms.
I love a good dining room.
But like in new builds for like apartments and stuff, they're like.
Also a point of luxury too. Some houses don't have a little dining room.
That's what I'm saying. So they're cutting out the dining room because people are like, oh, we don't need it. What was yours? I actually want to hear your answer.
One rule or habit at home. Definitely like kind of similar to yours. Like we never really ate out a lot.
Okay, yeah,
my mom
me neither,
was very heavy on like home cooked meals. Like, it wasn't like we went out, even if it was like for a special occasion. It's like for a birthday, it was at home, like that. So that habit, that's why when I started like going out with my husband, he liked to go out. Not that, first of all, my husband we didn't grow up rich or wealthy or anything like that. So not that that's a luxury, but it's just
we're
more
able
of a
to do
habit.
it now. It's also just the two of us. Like my mom was just having a conversation like for Thanksgiving, and we were all together, and she was like, when it was just me and Cynthia, like we would go out everywhere. I would take her out and we would go anywhere. Wow. We didn't have a car till like 8 years into being in this country, but we would take buses and go to the movies all the time. But she's like, the more kids we had, it just was like we couldn't afford it. We couldn't afford doing those things. But when it was just me and Cynthia, we would just like, I would just take her anywhere.
That's a good point. Like I remember, like definitely before I was able to get my license, my mom doesn't drive, so we would always take the bus like down to Broad Street. Go to Shoppers World. Have like your groceries and your
everything together.
Everything is there. So. And it would just be like right by home, but we would still have to take a bus because it wasn't like a pretty close trip.
No, it's funny. I remember finally like starting to work like a little after college, like during college, I mean, and like starting to spend money and going out to places and realizing like, oh, I've never had this thing before. Like I've never tried this before. I've never like I didn't try Thai food until I was in college my senior year because like I never really had it.
Same.
You know what I mean? It's just like it's not like it's just like one of those things where you don't do that because you don't.
I also feel like something like Thai food, it wasn't as easily accessible in at least where I was growing up.
For sure,
like there was more like other types of food or other types of like
Chinese food,
or Chinese food,
but not Thai food. 100%.
Or
yes.
like so I definitely feel like classes has to deal with a lot of the systemic upbringings and what they plug into our neighborhoods. So Thai food was definitely a luxury. Okay,
but not for people in Thailand. You know what I mean? It's so funny how that works.
It's not. So what does classify luxury versus like? Anyway,
we'll get there.
Okay. Do we want to start getting into it? We don't have to do all the icebreakers. I feel like we just, unless you want to. That one's fine. Favorite way to spend free time growing up?
You answered.
Me? Honestly, my sister and I, we used to go to the mall a lot. And after the mall, we would get McDonald's. And just go home.
That was,
watch movies.
Now that you're saying that, I'm remembering because I just brought it up, but it was actually one of my favorite memories of like getting on the bus, going because we lived in Hillside at the time, so we'd take the bus and go cross all of that through Elizabeth, the 24 bus to get to the mall, and we would have them make a whole day of it because it would take like an hour and a half just to get to the mall, right? And then we'd watch a movie and we'd walk around the mall, and then like those are like my favorite days with my mom. Too. Because
not with your mom, but
with you with your sister, but it was just like one of those things where it would be like such an event because it'd be a whole day.
It'd be a whole day's
now
worth.
You just get in your car, you drive 15 minutes to the mall and go to the movie. Like it's not a big deal, but it was a big deal back then. I remember.
It's so funny because like if I visited the mall now, it just everything has changed so much. Like it's not. There's almost like a nostalgic feeling about going to the mall.
Yeah.
Like especially with my older sister, like she would drag me to like these dress stores and like which they're not even there anymore, and it's like, oh my god, how have times changed that to the point where none of the stores that you see or the things that you would recognize when you do go to that familiar place is just no longer there anymore.
I just went to Menlo Park Mall a few days ago, yesterday.
Yeah.
And it looks so different. Like it's so white now and everything is so like, they just like, I don't know why everything is so bland now.
I think Menlo Park is definitely because
they're all owned by that Simon Corporation.
Yes. So growing up, I've always classified as Short Hills Mall.
Yeah, Short
like
Hills
the
and
rich
Menlo.
mall.
Yeah.
And I think Garden State Plaza was no.
Maybe it used to be. Now but it
Maybe
might be
used to
getting a
be.
revamp because it's like whatever. But yeah, I think like
Yeah. So I think Short Hills. So we would always go to Jersey Gardens Mall, or like
it's literally the outlet mall.
Yeah, the outlet mall because it's right by the airport. So hey, listen, I used to work at Jersey Gardens Mall. Like I feel like I don't know. Did you ever
call? Did you ever hear when people would call it Jersey? Yeah, I did. That was my first job. I worked at Skechers. You worked at Forever 21,
yes.
which doesn't exist anymore. So
Forever 21 doesn't exist anymore?
No, they took it out.
This is how long I haven't been to Jersey Gardens Mall.
Well, in general, it doesn't exist. They took it out of Garden State. They took it out of everywhere. It's gone.
Wait,
it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what happened. I guess because so many stores closed down this past year.
Oh my god.
But like Party City closed down.
Party City did close down. That was
I know. What the heck? I can't believe that it closed down. I know. It's just like everything's online now, but it's like kind of shitty because you're like all of these stores that you grew up around, they just don't exist. And I guess that's what happened when like that's happened a bunch of times before, but we've had the same ones for like all of our lives. So it's a little strange to go through see this process of everything changing again. But it's like, I guess it's a cycle. But yeah, like
just growing up with the times, man.
That's right, girl.
So what does class mean to you?
Oh my goodness.
I know it's a big ambiguous question.
It feels like this random, like another one of those big words where it's not a big word, but like its meaning holds a lot of like, what it could mean to people.
It can mean a lot, yeah.
And so in general, class was like, I always thought of like, okay, you're middle class, lower class, high class, like that was what I always knew it as. And then I think when I started to like be conscious of it was in the last few years when they were like, well, the middle class is dying. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean the middle class is dying? Like, how can we just disappear? Because like that's what's been being said for the last maybe like a decade, right? Yeah. They've been saying like in like 20 years there will be no middle class. It'll just be poverty or like wealthiness. Like that's kind of, and I didn't think that could be possible. But living the reality of like hearing those words being said for the last 10 years and actually seeing it happen and seeing the divide that's starting to feel where people that used to be comfortable, like you can make $60,000 a year and have a pretty comfortable, decent-ish life and everything was paid for. And now that they're saying that like minimum wage in this area, at least the tri-state area, is like $100,000 a year per person.
Yep. That's true.
That is the erasure of the middle class. Yep. The lower middle class is officially going towards poverty.
So what does that mean? Like for people who identify as like, or have always identified as a middle class, do you feel like now we had to be forced into this other bracket just to keep up with like, because you're right. It's like a shit ton of money that you used to pay monthly for a mortgage. And now you can barely afford it for a rent. 1 to 2 bedroom apartments.
Yeah. We were just looking at another 2-bedroom apartment that looked a lot. I have a 1-bedroom, but it's very spacious, right? Yeah. And that's like $1,900. We saw a 2-bedroom that was not spacious. The 2nd bedroom was like a closet, and it was $2,300. And I was like, I literally want to stay in my place because it's less money and nicer and bigger, but just because they squeeze another room into it, they're gonna charge another $500 for it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like it's one of those things where it's like, or like calling all these tiny new apartments luxury just because they're new and they have some amenities that other places don't have. Like that's not luxury. Like nobody that actually lives in luxury lives in a 1,800 square foot apartment. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's just the reality of it. It's just a branding, and then we're falling for it and letting them charge whatever they want. But I think that's a whole nother thing. I was reading something saying of like like socioeconomic class, like there's different levels to class, right? You could talk about financially what that means. You could talk culturally what that means, right? Like class used to be defined more by like hierarchies and things like
Yes.
how you were born, what you were born into.
Yeah.
And now we live in because I guess our capitalist society, whatever, it's more based on how much money we make and how we can get out of that or stay, right? Because it just depends on where you are in life and stuff like that. What did it mean to you? Like when were you aware of
growing up, you're right. I guess the first definition of class was sort of differentiating between what lower class was versus middle versus upper class, but that has completely shifted now. But I think it also deals with the system. I think it also deals, I would argue, like cultural influences too, and not so much by the people living in it, but like almost as if others have defined the system for us. You
They
know,
have.
like they kind of just put us into these boxes, which yes, they
100%.
totally have. So I think of class a little, not so much. Yes, the money, the financial part of it is a huge indicator of what your class system is. But I also do believe like the cultural and influences that are, included in that. So I guess like growing up for me, like living in Elizabeth, it was predominantly like, I would say lower middle class.
Yeah, for sure.
And then going into like, I don't know, like what's a really well off, like Glenridge, New Jersey or something like that. Like that, obviously that's a more wealthy place. So that's how I learned what class was about. But I'm learning that, honestly, I don't know too much about it. I think it's like, I feel like I just was born into a certain class or level and I've just sort of stayed there for my whole life. So I never really experienced any other. And what I mean by that,
they call it like it's like a term. It's like horizontal change, where you can jump from like different societies. Like you can jump in from different places, but you're still in the same like class level. Versus jumping up vertically, where you're literally switching
from
one class
something
to the
so
next,
drastic.
right? And so like it says that a lot, especially like immigrant communities, we kind of have this horizontal expansion where we grow, like maybe we're not growing, maybe like in a sense of like, I'm maybe not wealthy or whatever, but I might be able to kind of grow in my influence as an Ecuadorian in the newer community, because there's a lot of Ecuadorians here, right? Maybe we aren't super growing in wealth, but we are growing in we are growing in wealth because there's more of us, right? But this is a very interesting way of how like to see it, like to see how it works and how people move through society.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I had never really thought about it until we were like, oh, let's do this episode. We think about it all the time. I think we're very aware of like where we are and what our standing is.
Yeah.
Mostly because I feel like if you aren't super rich, you're going to kind of just be self-aware, right? But to actually put the terms and understand where they came from, I think this was the first time that I was like, oh, well, where did this word come from? Who started this idea or whatever. And then it's like, oh, like they all, for whatever reason, everybody leads, like all roads lead to Marx or whatever. And I've never actually read Marx. So I'm like, okay, so maybe I should just like try and see what that's like, because I want to understand more like the science of it basically, and then like how people see it and how the great thinkers see it, because
I would like to understand
it's something that affects us in real time, and why not take the time to learn more about it?
Because we're aware of it, but do you feel like we kind of just like settled into it a bit?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's part of that. Like
I have no
want or
need to be stinking filthy rich. You know what I mean? Like there's no, I don't feel that necessity, but at the same time, like, can I say the same thing about like not having as much as I do now? Like, what am I just like? Is the middle class like? Are we just good? Are we comfortable?
Well,
here?
that's
like,
the part of
we
it
not
being middle. Yeah,
like
we are comfortable, so sometimes we can get complacent.
Yes.
I think that's the word, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
But in other times, I'm like, well, I don't want my whole life to be about avarice and the hustle and like everything. Like at one point in my life, my biggest goal was like, I want to make this much money. I want to do this. And it did afford me some freedoms of like, like I didn't have to budget for a few years because I was making a pretty decent amount of money. I would just pay for everything and I always had money in the bank. And it was in a beautiful like feeling because I didn't grow up with that feeling.
Right.
So finally when I like, because I was in sales for a while and I was making this kind of money and I was like, wow, this is like so nice, not have to count my dollars, not having to figure out when I have to pay this at what point of the month and pay this one at what point of the month. I didn't have to budget, right? So for the first like half of my 20s, I was doing pretty good. And I was already out of the house, so it was very interesting to go through that and experience that after not knowing what it was like to have that kind of security and realizing, no, I want this. Like this is like, maybe have money doesn't buy happiness, but it does give you some sort of comfort when you're not worried, because the amount of brain space it takes when you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay this bill, this thing is behind, the collection is calling you 17 times a day. Like it takes up a lot of brain space, and having that freedom was beautiful, so I once you take, and I was like, people say like, I get why people sell out sometimes, especially when they're poor. I get why people give up their like beliefs just to be able to keep funding their new lifestyle, because you experienced life without all these things. It was not great, right? It was not fun to be stressed out about money all the time, right? You experience it and then you finally make it for whatever job you have or whatever. But to have that job, you have to stand against people of color, or you have to say that, like, like all these different things. So it gets a little bit like,
so it does sort of feel like kind of like a stay in your lane at times.
Yeah, I think for some people.
I think like, I mean,
like stay in your lane, keep your head down so you can keep making money. Yeah, I feel like that's a thing.
I think a lot of experiences can sort of shape that realization. Like I left home at 21 and for the next couple of years until I was able to actually afford my own place, I was living in basements. I was living in makeshift dining rooms into a bedroom, and I'm super grateful for the people who gave me that space. But it was a huge indicator of, I made the choice to leave at 21 from my childhood home to basically live in where someone is able to open the door for me.
Yeah.
So it really gave me a kicker to the ass to be like, okay, like you got to work, you got to keep doing what you're doing, save up as much as you can, and
especially if like a space isn't your own, like,
oh my God,
and you hadn't experienced that before, right? Because you were always in your family home.
I've always even when I was in my family home, I knew at a very young age that I probably, for me to have a space to call in my own was like that feeling that I made it.
Yeah.
Even if I was like in a childhood home, like, just having that experience. And then with the day that we signed that lease for our first home, I was like, I fucking made it. And so it really shifted that perspective. But those couple of years, it was very much like figuring out like the pricing and being super conscious of how I spent my money and where those dollars are going. And it was not a fun time, but it was a very
enlightening,
humbling time.
Humbling is a good word,
for sure.
I feel like I still don't know I don't know how to budget. It's so bad. Like I
hate budgeting, but it's very important.
No, I know. And so I'm like,
it is very important. I think it's very.
Did you grow up with like knowing how to do that? No, right?
No.
It's so crazy because I when I meet like coworkers who are white. They'll be
Yes.
like, oh, all my funds are in mutual funds. Oh, or my
Girl,
my family did this, or
when I
my
heard
dad
trust
did this.
funds, when I heard allowances, I'm like, that was never in my
But you know what
vocabulary.
it's like to not even like, I know people that don't even have like debit accounts because they have like all of their money like tied up to different like investing things or mutual funds or all these things, and I'm like it's so different than how I grew up because like we never had that conversation. We didn't. My mom was like, don't even have a credit card. Like put your money under the
Totally.
the couch or whatever.
That's funny that your mom said that, because my dad was like, you better not get a credit card until you get a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I never understood. I'm like, but why? There's like so many people in
I was like
college that
terrified
have
of
it.
getting credit cards. Like I was like, I'm never getting one.
I
genuinely believed that I was like, this is like the devil. Like I'm not gonna like not really genuinely believe that it was the devil, but I just was like afraid of them because it made it seem like, oh, the interest and you're gonna like
they catch you.
they catch
They
you
catch
and
you all
then
the
they're
time.
like, oh, you know, all the college students that get a bunch of cards right out of college and then they're in like hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, blah 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 blah, blah. And I was like so worried about that.
I've met people like that, and
it does happen.
It happens, yeah.
You know, but
But you know what? I would probably say that a huge indicator of that fear is because they also don't show in schools financial literacy.
no,
And
yeah.
the importance of financial literacy, teaching these kids, I would say as young as like probably elementary school, maybe more so in middle school, the education system has to show financial literacy in schools.
Think about it. They approve 17 and 18-year-olds for $100,000 worth of scholarship loans, but you have no idea what you're doing. Like
No.
nobody talks you through it. Nobody explains to you.
And why? Because you don't know what the definition is of a credit card. You don't know what the definition of a debt is.
Accrued interest. You don't know all these things that you learn as you go. There should, if you're allowing children with no credit history, no anything to have these loans, it should be mandatory to teach them how to take care of it, how to handle it, what's the most efficient way, because there really are smarter ways to handle things, and that information just isn't out there. Like it's out there, but you have to go digging for it, you know? And like it's crazy to me that like a couple, maybe like what, in the 50s, what college was basically like public, like free for people, or like you know, the higher obviously
free tuition,
or if it was like, it was a couple $1,000s, it wasn't a couple like $100,000 or tens of thousands of dollars. And then like Ronald Reagan comes in and he's like, we shouldn't let like the riffraff in, so let's make it harder for them, because that's literally what happened. And they literally changed just like how it's happening right now, how the education system is literally getting torn apart or whatever. He was like one of the main contributors back in the 80s or 70s, whatever, of like, let's cut public education. Let's not make it a federal thing. Let's bring it back down to each state that decides what. All the stuff that's happening now,
sounds a little
Reagan
familiar.
was doing it,
Sounds
right?
a little familiar.
There was this very like
Stat?
no, a quote.
No? Quote?
From okay, so from advisor Roger E. Freeman, who was advisor to Ronald Reagan. So there was a lot of, this is like in the 70s, so around like Vietnam and everything like that. And actually, which is very, if you think about it, it's very similar to what's happening right now with like the encampments that happened during the whole Palestine for Gaza and like all this stuff, and how everybody made it seem basically like, oh, like these college people are too woke, right? Same thing, 1970s, post like during Vietnam, all this thing. So he goes, we're in danger of producing an educated proletariat. What is proletariat? It means workers or the working class people regarded collectively, especially those who do not own the means of production and must sell their labor to survive. So why, for the people that are in charge, is it a danger to have an educated mass? Right. And then what happens? They start to legislate towards taking away public funding for college. And now we have millions and millions and billions of dollars in debt for college. And so, you know, or like freaking Donald Trump's quote, like, I love the poorly educated. You know what I mean? Like, why are we letting this happen? But like, you know, when we talk about class, it's so like, there's a big bunch of us, right, that are like the working class. We are there. The most of us are the working class.
Yes.
So like, and we finally have access to be able to learn and do these things. But now, why are people stopping to go to college lately? It's because it's so expensive. So they're like, oh, we're going to go to trade school. We're going to go. And yes, those are great jobs. You can make $100,000 a year easily with some trade jobs. I was literally
talking to my husband about this, that, if we ever have kids one day, I will never pressure them to go to college.
That's crazy because you know how we were pressured so much to go to college.
And
now we feel like our hands are a little bit tied because we still are paying this off.
Think about it. Why were we pressured to go to college?
Because it was a class thing. It was like so you're an immigrant.
There you go.
Well, you weren't an immigrant.
But that's what I mean. Like, it is a class thing, but that's what I mean. How cultural
being educated
connects to class, right?
Right. And it's like, oh, she's educated. She got a degree. She has her master's. Oh, boom, boom. We start to raise up and go up a few steps on the class.
But dude, why though? Because our parents came from other countries. They were feeded the notion of America being this big, great country of education, of money, of power, of being able to get all the things, of safety, for God's sake, getting all the things that they weren't able to receive in their homelands, that they came here either trying to make that better life. And so one of those, like, in their lists, in their dreams, was that their kids had to go to college. Yeah. No matter what. That is all I heard in my household. Go to college, go to college, go to college. Okay.
Doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what
it is. Doesn't matter what you do.
Just graduate. Just graduate. Go to college. You'll be a successful whatever.
So then I that's why I'm like, I will never I can't push my kids to doing that. I can't do it because I was pushed, and I don't blame my parents for any of that, and I'm grateful that they're here and they did what they needed to do, but they didn't understand the fine print of everything. Someone can be like, why don't you have a house by now? Because I have a huge amount of student loans.
That's crazy.
Because I was not educated enough to know what that had meant.
And you had your sisters who had already gone to college, so they helped you out a little.
They helped me out a little, but they also have been through the same thing. Yeah. Because nobody was there to sort of, that's what I mean about like the cultural shift, the cultural implications of what class can be. And the expectations are not at all what they are deemed to be.
Right, because we're like just run towards the goal, like graduate, go to college.
Doesn't matter what.
Yeah. But you're not being aware of like we went to a school that's very, very expensive, like basically the same price as like Princeton at the time.
Yeah, it was a private school.
I didn't realize that I could have pushed harder to go to Montclair or Rutgers and I would have had way less debt. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know about like how to reach out for scholarships. Every scholarship I got like found me I'm so, sorry to say, like I wasn't one of those kids that was like applying for 20 different scholarships, so that I didn't know how to find them. Like, and I would like,
but why didn't you know how to find them though? Was it because you felt like you didn't have that sort of push to it?
My mom was like, didn't even understand that there were fees for applications.
That's what I'm saying.
My mom was like, because I was like working a little part-time job my senior year, and like all my money was gone by the time that spring came around. And I was like, well, I've been spending it all on college stuff. Because, also that's another thing of a class indicator. I was applying to get aid to get the SATs paid for. I was paying for if I didn't qualify for the aid for the application fee, then I was paying for that out of pocket by myself. I wasn't even asking my mom for money. I was just like, oh, this is $100. Oh, this is $90. This is $50. Okay, here, boom, here's. And I didn't know until afterwards that sometimes you could apply for help for those fees. And then I was like, well, I already just paid it, so I don't care. So there was a lot of like, just keep going, just keep pushing through, and you'll figure it out. And I was figuring it out on my own. Like, yes, we had a counselor, but it's not the same.
It's not the same because every situation, every family, every person is different. And it's almost like, yes, we're talking about school, but we can also say the same thing about healthcare and like medical bills.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I'm still going through that too. Like and I was literally on the phone with a rep, and I'm like, how can I pay this medical bill out? And she was like, oh, you can apply for like our financial assistance program. What?
Yeah.
You have that?
I know.
But they would never tell you that, right?
No, they don't.
They never would tell you. I feel like I just spoke to an angel at that moment
You're
because
just
she's probably
playing
like, I get it.
of like looking for the thing that'll help you. And I always feel like there is an option, but you have to find it. Like you have to go searching for it, and
which is crazy to me because like
knocking on the right doors.
I feel like all my life it's like everything is out there, right?
Yeah.
All the resources that you need in your life to be able to like feel like you're thriving, feel like you're at a good place in your life, and whether that's financial, like mentally, emotionally, physically, and it's just about you looking out for them. You know, like they're not gonna come knocking on your door and be like, you need help, you need aid, here we go. Like, here's a payment plan that we can help you with, or here's a type of loan that you can probably like fix without zero interest. You know, you hear that all the time, but it's like you have to really read the fine print in things because they can trap you.
Yeah. And
they can trap you.
It's even crazier to think that you're getting trapped as a teenager, you know what I mean? That doesn't even know
this is
what they want to do in their life.
This is why I mean, like, financial literacy and these education systems are super duper important.
But then you're like 25, 26 years old and you can't get approved for an apartment because you don't make 3 times as much. But they did approve you when you were 17 years old for that tens of thousands of dollars. Do you know what I mean? Like,
doesn't make any sense.
It
doesn't make any sense. It's like
no, they really do tie your hands behind your back.
They do. It's like the Hunger Games. It's like they change the game every single time.
They change the rules, and it's like
you got to fight to survive.
Or like thinking about how credit, like as a like credit as a thing, like it's only been around since like the 80s, right? Or like I think like the 80s is when, or something like that, when they started to make like a credit score a thing.
Oh God.
So looking at that. So that's another like thing that they just created, and then they like, you know what I mean?
The credit score?
Yeah, like that wasn't something that
it wasn't. Yes, that's a very good point about the credit score.
And not
like,
everybody
it really indicates
it's an American thing. Like there's credit scores all over the world, I guess, but it's not as like. It doesn't like. I don't know why.
It just, again, it's another tool in the game that
exactly
is meant to sort of pinpoint you into a certain box, you know. So it's like, if your credit score is low, then the fuck you doing? Sorry, I'm trying not to curse as much, but this is really like a really heavy conversation. But if you're higher in the credit score, then you're good, you're set. But I'm finding out that even if you have high credit score, there's still some things that you can't really get to.
No, because you need to have credit history.
Exactly.
But if
it's crazy.
But you know, another funny thing about the whole credit situation, where we go back to how the class disparity of everything is, like, rich people file for bankruptcy all the time.
Oh, girl.
But Donald Trump has not paid his taxes in years. He files for bankruptcy every 5 minutes for every like Donald Trump University, all of these things, all of these like scams that he's had in the last 20 years or whatever. He has filed for bankruptcy over and over again, and he's still a billionaire.
Yeah.
And so we have this like fear in our lower middle class of like, oh, once you know, your life, your financial life is gone. If you apply for bankruptcy, you know, you're never going to move on. You're never going to buy a house. You're never going to get a car. You're never. There's all this never. Meanwhile, rich people are filing for bankruptcy left and right. Why? Sometimes they can do it. Something that we don't know.
Yeah.
They put a lot of things in like LLCs and it's not actually under their name, or that's one way, or there's like so many ways. So I feel like if we take anything out of this, just like learn how rich people finance their life. Obviously we can't do the same. We're not going to get $1 million loan from a bank, but you know what I mean? It's like stop with the stigma of thinking that, oh well, this happened, so now I'm this loser and I can never get for. I used to sell cars and I'd be like, well, you can't get this because you got a bankruptcy. But if that person came, let's say the car costs $50,000. If they came, they had a bankruptcy a year ago.
Yeah.
Or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, but they came with 30,000 of the 50,000, the bank will still give you the loan. One of them. There will be a bank that will give you a loan because what? You showed cash up front.
Sure.
What do rich people have? Cash liquidity, right? So they have this flow where they can, yes, on paper and with your credit score, you're like crap, whatever. But because I have the liquidity, I can pay for anything out of pocket. And very quickly, I can refix my credit because I'm already getting new loans. Because I paid for most of them out of pocket. And that's one way. So there's so many different ways that they can get through it.
At the end of the day, like I said, it's going to be every person, every situation. And you're pretty much your own financial advisor at a certain point of time.
Yeah.
Like literally what you said, like that sort of like direction that you have to take to be able to get a loan, to be able to do this, to be able to do that. It's because you know so well of your own finances, which I feel like a lot of people don't. And so they have these financial advisors and they get paid
but
shit tons of money.
What's the kind of person that is able to afford a financial advisor? Again, right? So
That's
there's
true.
always this like.
That's true. We did go see a financial advisor, but I knew right then and there that would be like a one-time thing.
Why?
It's not like you said, and what type of people
you were like, I can't invest all this.
So it's funny because when we were preparing to see the financial advisor, I had all the questions,
right?
Because I'm like, this is my one shot. Yeah, this is my one shot. It's if I don't ask everything, then I'm asked out basically. Mm-hmm. So we talked about, like, we looked at our numbers. We talked about, like, our future plans. We talked about where we were, where we're trying to get. Like, what are those life goals that we're trying to get to?
Right.
But because I'm in this class, I feel I just know for a fact that I'm not going to see this financial advisor ever again.
I don't know. That's such an interesting perspective.
Why
did you feel like when you were in there talking to the advisor that what he was saying was unrealistic to what you were at? Like, what was
unrealistic. It wasn't unrealistic. I just felt like I wanted to be able to grab as much answers as I can.
Okay.
Because I don't know, it felt like something like seeing a financial advisor was just so way out of my league.
Oh my God.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting.
And I shouldn't feel that way.
Right. I think, yeah.
I shouldn't feel that way. I should feel like, no, I have the privilege and I have the opportunity to talk to someone who is able and willing to help me out.
Right.
Even if I don't understand a lot, I do have the opportunity. That's why I said, like, I came in with so many questions. And if there was something I didn't understand, then I would ask a follow-up question because it almost felt like that was my one chance to ask. Funny, right?
Yeah.
Funny
I feel
how
like
that
you should
weird.
definitely go back and.
Oh, I will go back now that I'm saying this out loud. Like,
yeah,
what the
I'm
hell?
glad.
I should
Yeah,
go back.
exactly.
But that's what I mean. It's like growing up.
No, yeah, there's no access to
never
that.
happened.
That doesn't exist. What is a
There's
financial
no
advisor?
access to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who are the people that have a financial advisors? People with money. But I think everybody should have access to a financial advisor, especially because you know what? Being poor is expensive.
Girl.
You know, what does it feel like when you have nothing in your bank account and every single day you're getting an overdraft fee of $30, $50? And so by the time that you finally get paid on that Friday, a week later, you're $200 in the negative, like that. And when you're already check to check, that literally destroys your, like, how your finances are. Like they are like before you can even plan it all out, you're getting kind of like screwed over a little bit. So it's difficult. I feel like people who should have financial advisors are the people that are struggling because they need the most advice.
They need the most advice.
But who gets the advisors is the people that have the money. Because
why can't we do that? There's a lot of whys and ifs when it comes to this
100%.
type of situation.
Frustration too.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So we're talking a lot about money. We're talking a lot about finances and what that means to class. I really want to get into the nitty gritty of relationships. And what I mean by that is, do you deal with like, have you ever felt like you needed to sort of help out your family? Have you ever felt like you needed to have that responsibility on your shoulders to help pay for, like, I've known people who needed to help pay for parents' cars or certain loans that they took out or something for the house, being probably either the only child or eldest child of the household.
So two like different things. Like in my household, my stepdad he did not let us pay for anything, even though we could have been struggling and I could have been like, hey, like I'm okay right now. Like I can give you something. He'd be like, absolutely not. So like, in that sense, I was very lucky where I didn't feel like I had to do those things when I was younger.
Yeah.
Right. But I have seen other younger people my age or even younger who do have to do that and have that extra burden on top of them. I knew a friend who, when their mother passed away, because it was there were three brothers, all of her debts went to the brothers, right? And they had to pay that off, and they were like 17, 19, and 23. Right. And they were so the 17-year-old is not going to have anything together.
Right.
The one that's barely surviving college, trying to pay tuition out of his own pocket. So, and then you add all of the debts that their mother had before she passed away.
Yep.
And that really messed them up for a while because they were already not financially stable. They were basically orphaned when she died. And so like, imagine that, like you have to deal with the sadness of your mother dying, and then you have to deal with the fact that you have this finances,
you
know.
That's rough.
So, but now as I'm older, I feel like I want to be able to, even though I know right now I might not have the capabilities to help them out, I have this awareness in the back of my mind that I want to be able to have some sort of safety net, not just for myself, but for my grandma, for my mom, for my stepdad when they get older, because like that's just real, you know?
So do you feel like you deal with guilt?
In a way,
I do.
because I'm like, I wish I was more successful. Like I wish I could just help them whenever they needed it, because there's 31 years old that are doing a lot better in life, and they can just be like, you need this here, whatever.
So I asked that because I feel that bit of a guilt. I feel that bit of, and it's always tied to financial guilt because I'm unable. Why are my parents still working? You know?
Yeah.
Like, why can't I help them out? You know, and it's just, that's just my personal.
Right, because
like,
I don't think they're like, oh my God, you're not helping me.
They're never once did my parents
exactly.
ever be like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be helping out. No, none of that.
Exactly.
None of that. And they want to give more than anything. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, there's no way that, you know, you're in your 60s, you can't be doing, like, not to get too personal, but it's just like, I definitely feel that guilt for them.
I get it.
It's like the dreams that I had 10 years ago, I'm not able to acquire them yet, and it's not my fault. You know, I'm just learning that it's not usually always my fault. It's just
life.
The damn life and the system, and it's not letting me.
But you know, then there'll be people that'll say some shit like, oh, sorry, that'll say something like,
say it, girl.
you know, pull yourself out your bootstraps. You can do it on your own. You can do it on your own. And you're
rub some dirt on it.
Right? Yeah, and like. Well, yeah, and we have. That's what I have done my whole life. And
Amen.
While I've been pulling myself out of my bootstraps, I'm in the same place, right? So obviously, as hard as I'm working or I've worked out, you know what I do feel? Like this is a little bit out of the parent guilt thing.
Go.
What I feel is that like I burned myself out from hustling. And
really?
Now I'm like 31 and I'm like, I don't care about money, but I have to figure it out anyways. But I'm like, I just don't care about it anymore. I don't care. I just want to, as long as I have a roof over my head and like my bills are paid, like I don't care anymore but a part of me is like, but that's not healthy either. But I'm also just tired because I've been working since I was 16.
I understand that feeling of like, I don't care about money anymore. It's like
I want to have everything cared for.
Sure.
But that
like everything is good and set for me to not be able to. It's not that we don't care about making money. It's just
I don't care about being rich and wealthy or whatever.
No,
but of course, if it came, it would be so nice, right? Like I'm not like.
So, do you feel like money?
Does it buy happiness?
Yeah.
In a way, especially if you've experienced not having it.
Yes.
It's not even happiness; it's peace. Sometimes, you know, it's literally peace.
I agree.
It's not even happiness.
I
Happiness
agree.
comes from everything else, from the experiences that the money bought. Like, but the
There,
peace that
I
comes
agree.
from not having to worry about not having enough, or the embarrassment of going out with your friends and not having enough, or not wanting to go out because you know you don't have enough, so you ignore people, you know, talk to them. That's happened to me before too. I don't know if it's ever happened to you, where you're like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna act like I can't go out, but I want to go out with you, but I can't spend $50 going out with you. You know what I mean? Those are real situations that have happened and happen to people all the time. And it's like, I wish that I had a better relationship growing up with money, so that now I could find a healthier place somewhere in the middle where I'm like, okay, like I do still have to like, I it's not about being lazy though, you know?
Yeah.
And it's frustrating when, like, sometimes that's my biggest frustration. I feel like I work so hard and I feel like I'm not where I should be at this point in life. And I'm like, well, what the heck? Like, did I just waste my last 15 years of life? Like, you know, like there's that frustration. Because you know yourself that you've been working hard. You know that you've put in hours for whatever it is you do, or whatever I do. And then you're like, well, what the heck? Well, why not in a better place? Yeah, the math ain't mathing. Yes, exactly.
That's what's going on.
But you know, life is more expensive, and like I said before, $60,000 used to get you the same that you need $100,000 a year for. Where are you going to get $40,000? Nobody's giving you a $40,000 raise in the last 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're a CEO of some company, because apparently they can keep getting the craziest raises, but we get 90 cents a year if we're lucky. And it's like, talking about healthcare specifically, but like,
no, it's like that in a lot of places.
it is like that in most places, to be honest with you. And I see the frustration in people, because you can't tell me that I don't work hard enough. You know, you can't tell me that I don't put in the work, that I'm lazy. You can't tell me those things. Right. And so when I know I think that's where I've always had this kind of like, about things when they don't make sense. You know, I'm like, I'm working hard and it's still not like, it's not enough. Right. Yeah. That's frustrating to me. And that's when I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I don't need this money. I don't need to be rich. I don't care anymore, because you know what? I've been working hard.
That's the same as like you leaving a toxic ass job, and it's like there's no money in the world that would ever bring myself back to this place with these people and all that stuff, and it's not worth it.
It's like, have you ever been in a situation where, like, I worked at this restaurant where I would sit in the lot until the very last minute so that I could clock in at 59, you know, at 10, at the minute before. So because I didn't want to walk in a minute after, because I didn't want to spend any extra time in that place. But you have to show up because you have bills to pay. You have things to pay, but there's people that are making your life miserable, or you're just not, it's not working for you or whatever. And it's like that pressure, like that's another, see the peace that money buys you.
Yep.
Not ever have, imagine, there's rich people that have never had to experience being micromanaged by a bad manager that doesn't know how to do their job. They've never experienced that. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, you don't understand. Like, you don't understand.
Oh man, don't I love micromanaging?
Oh my God.
It really puts things in perspective. But so do you feel like awareness, we talked a lot about it, but do you feel like the awareness of class really does foster a lot of like the empathy and social change?
100%.
I feel like it does. I don't feel like I get that from people who are rich, you know, like I feel like, you know, it's again that concept of staying in your lane and just being comfortable in where you are, and
and if
you don't have to worry about this.
If you've never seen it, you haven't experienced it, you don't know people that live that way. Oh my God, this is like a funny little. So I used to work in Gramercy in the city, and do you know that show Ozark? Mm-hmm. So I watched the first season. I thought it was a good show. I didn't find myself connected to it in any way. I just thought it was a great show. It's like about money laundering. It's like this rich family, like high middle class.
Okay.
Or high middle class.
Yeah.
And like he's like, it's like money laundering and like, you know,
Oh, really? That's what that's about?
Yeah.
I thought it was a fantasy show.
No, oh my God, no. Ozark is like about.
It sounded like a fantasy show. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So,
So it's a rich family.
Yeah, like, and they're like trying to like like wash the money for these like gangsters or whatever. So they go to the Ozarks, which is like this vacation area.
Yeah.
That's where the name comes from, and that's where they start to launder the money through different like
I see.
whatever.
Okay.
But I remember one time when I was in the restaurant and I was like serving some people, and this like lady was like, "Oh my God, I watched the last episode of Ozark. That show gives me nightmares." And that always stuck with me because I was like, a show about money laundering does not give anyone I know nightmares. But the rich lady from Gramercy Park drinking her $200 bottle of wine is like, that show gives me nightmares. I'm like, girl, are you?
I would have loved to pick her brain at that moment.
I know, I'd have been like, why?
What?
Are you
What
money
do
laundering?
mean? Is that why you're scared? Oh my God. Can you imagine?
But that's those things where you're like, for me, that means that is a fantasy. That whole story is a fantasy.
See? So it is a fantasy. Okay.
For them, it's very real.
Real life? What the
gives you nightmares. Girl,
what are you talking
bye.
about? Oh my God. Wow, that's very interesting to hear.
Yeah.
That's like when I hear people that have like a beach house down the shore. And we're like,
every time I hear someone say, "Oh, that's the house of shore," I'm like, "Wow, your life is different than mine, bro."
I was like,
and sometimes
so you're rich.
Sometimes it's not even that different, you know. But I'm like, obviously, somewhere along the line, you guys planned better because we barely have. We don't even have a house.
It's okay. It's great. Your parents.
Yeah, it's no
you know,
hate.
like y'all really budgeted. That's what was going on.
Yeah, just
there.
like being viscerally aware that like you guys were, but also like think about it. Half of the time, the people that have a beach house are people that have lived here for 2 or 3 generations at least.
Yeah.
You know, if my parent was the first one here, it's a very big deal if they do have a beach house, but it's actually unrealistic to think that they might. You know what I mean? Because they're immigrants. They just got here. My mom has barely made 30 years in this country, right? So all of it counts.
Look, if you got a pool in your backyard,
oh, big deal. But you had a pool, but yours was above ground. So that was another level, right? Above ground or in ground?
Above ground pool, you were good.
In ground, you're rich. You got that.
What? You got money.
Yep. It's so funny, right?
What?
Those are those
What's
things.
another thing that you? Oh my God! Wait.
I found one. I remembered one.
I asked my husband yesterday. I was like, "Did you get the Oreo cookies or did you get the store brand?" And he's like, "The store brand." And I'm like, "Yo,
that's a huge thing with my husband." Oh my God! Like I always go to Aldi, and I'll be like, when we first started living together, I would buy like the cookies from Aldi, and he wouldn't eat them. The cereals?
What do you mean?
I can't buy off-brand cereals.
The bread? Like the off-brand items?
The bread was the only one that I could slide through, even until now. But like, I cannot get off-brand cereal. I cannot get off-brand cookies. Oh my God! Like I'm like, can we just get the mac and cheese from the store? No, he's like, I want the mac and cheese from Kraft, and I'm like, they're literally the same thing. You know what was another one that like made me very aware. And people always talk about this on social media. It's like, the first time that you developed class consciousness was when the Scholastic Book Fair came around.
I had to count that money.
I had to count those coins, bro.
I was like, do I want this big red Clifford dog and the pencil with the big eraser on it?
Oh, can I
I'm gonna have to give something up. Like it was.
And then you'd have like your friend that bought like 3 books and like 3 pens.
Yeah, and then I'd be looking at her like,
"Are you rich?"
I
would feel so bad about myself.
I would see kids with packed lunches, and I'm like,
bro,
okay,
like Lunchables.
I guess I'll just like Lunchables.
I never had that. That was
not
a
even
dream.
Like just like pack lunches from their homes. My mom would be like, "Here, that's your money. Go get whatever the school gives you."
Yeah,
which I love. You know,
my mom
like
was
whatever.
Never a pack lunch person.
No,
because you know why we weren't pack lunch bases? Because we were poor enough so that I could get free lunch at school.
That's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying.
If I had an extra $1 or $2, maybe I could buy some chocolate or whatever. But I barely ever really had like an extra change.
Maybe another juice box.
Yeah, like some tuna sandwiches or whatever. No, yeah, like I
was with public school.
So you realize very early on that that life might be a little different for you than other people.
But it's like I gotta give it up to my family, because it's like, yes, we've been through some struggles, we've been through all those things, but they still gave me the opportunities to go further than they did. Like I went to an all girls private Catholic school, and that wasn't cheap. That was tuition based too. But I knew that in the back of my mind, and I'm like, I got to get my grades going. I got to like make sure that I can do this for the next 3 or 4 years of my life.
And it was a big deal.
It was a huge deal. Granted, my grades were not that great, but freshman year. But after that, it starts to, you grow up, right? When you grow up, things start to kick in a little bit more clearly, and you're like, you can't be playing around with this shit. Like, you really have to. This ain't your money that they're spending on. But through all we're saying, I think it's important to, especially from where we come from, to understand class and its intricacies and everything, but also see it without shame. Like, it's just part of our story. Sure. It's how we grew up. It humbles you. It's a part of you.
And it also changes and like it makes you who you are. You know what I mean? Like what you said, it's a part of you. And like if I didn't have these stories, like I would be someone else. And I like who I am, and I like how my belief systems, and like I don't think I can always be wrong about something, and I'm always open to changing things. But I appreciate that the way that I grew up, and obviously how you grew up, made me able to see the world with empathic like eyes. Like I can like, like there's this there isn't this wall of like,
you're understanding a lot about what your interpretation of class is, without any shame, without any like just because like I was like I was a bodega kid, like so all the time, like it just, and
it was a beautiful
it was
way
great.
Of
it was I love it's so nostalgic to me now.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't I go more to the bodega often now, right? Like it just brings you back to home.
Yeah,
in a way. Sure. But at the same time, it also, there were moments where it definitely taught you like, okay, well, like I said, like I'm not gonna force my kid to go to college, but like you still better get some type of education.
Right.
You still better like apply yourself. Like we're not coming from a family
like by the time that you have college age kids, not just like I want to have enough money to pay for them, but I want to have the tools to explain to them like how can we get loans, how can we get better options,
together,
how can we get more scholarships,
together.
Instead of kind of like throwing them out to the wolves.
I think that's really important. That's something that I want to do for future generations, is like do it together.
Yeah.
Like yes, you'll still be thrown out into the wolves at some point because you do have to grow up, but if you feel like you have some type of safety net in a way, and not safety net as in money, I mean like just as in like
the accessibility,
and the access to finding things out. That's the type of safety net.
That's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. Whoa, big convo, but really necessary. So just leaving with, class is more than a number. It's a culture, it's identity, it's survival, and sometimes it is very confusing.
And we hope this episode helps you put words to things that you felt but maybe never named. Your class experience is valid, even if it doesn't fit all the boxes that we know or don't know. Anyways.
See you next time.
Thanks for coming to Decaf Soul.
Bye. Decaf Soul is produced by WNN World News Network.
Follow us at Decaf Soul Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify.
New episodes every Friday.